When you find a special situation and you decide, just for illustration, that you can buy for 10 and it's worth 30 and you take a position and then you cannot realise it until a lot of other people decide it's worth 30, how is the process brought about? By advertising, or what happens? Mr. Graham, that is one of the mysteries of our business, and it is a mystery to me as well as everybody else. We know from experience that eventually the market catches up with the value. It realises it in one way or the other. The Chairman, but do you do anything to help that? Do you advertise, or what do you do? Mr. Graham, on the contrary, we try as a matter of fact to keep our operations as confidential as we can. The Chairman, even after you buy? Mr. Graham, even after we have acquired our shares. The Chairman, why? Mr. Graham, basically for the reason that we just are not interested in other people knowing about our business, and we have no interest in endeavouring to persuade people to buy stocks in which we have ownership. We have never done it and we will never do it. The Chairman, that is rather unusual. Since you make your capital gains, a lot of people have got to decide it is worth 30. Mr. Graham, we have been very fortunate in our experience by finding that other people will decide that the stock you mention is worth 30 without the necessity of our doing anything about it on the advertising side. We might conceivably at times intervene in a managerial policy, we might suggest some change in the procedure, but that, of course, is merely because we are substantial stockholders. The Chairman, I think this is about all. There are many other things which I could ask you, I'm sure. However, you have other things to do and the hour is late. I would like to express the appreciation of the committee for you having taken your time to come down here and volunteer this information. I am sure it is not very pleasant for you to have to talk about these things, but I know no other way we can learn about them. Mr. Graham, if I have made a contribution, I do not mind the discomfort. The Chairman, if you have any further suggestions that occur to you which we ought to know about, we will welcome you writing them to us. Thank you very much for coming. Of Benjamin Graham of the The statement of Benjamin Graham, Chairman of the Graham Newman. Mr. Graham's full prepared statement is as follows. Statement of Benjamin Graham, Chairman of Graham Newman Corporation. My name is Benjamin Graham. I live in Scarsdale, New York. I am Chairman of the Graham Newman Corporation, a registered investment company or investment fund. I am also adjunct professor of finance at the Graduate School of Business, Columbia University. This statement will address itself mainly to 3 points. 1. The present level of stock prices from the standpoint of relationship between price and value. 2. Causes of the rise in the stock market since September 1958. 2. Causes of the rise in the stock market since September 1953. 3. Feasible methods of controlling excesses. 3. Feasible methods of controlling excessive speculation in the future. With regard to the present level of stock prices, I find new paragraph. With regard to the present level of stock prices, common stocks look high and are high, but they are not as high as they look. The market level of industrial stock is far above the 1929 high shown by the Standard & Poor index of 420 industrials. The present figure is above 300, as compared with 1929 high of 195. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, at about 410, is now only moderately above 1929 high of 382, but the difference would be much larger except for the substitutions made in average. However, the railroad and utility companies as a whole are well below the 1929 highs. The true measure of common stock values, of course, is not found by reference to the price movements alone, but the price relation to earnings, dividends, future prospects, and to a small extent asset values.